So it's time to restart our lessons, and then welcome back to our ethics class. Just a reminder and how the situation is going on. So in our courses, so we have 3 parts. The first one is about ethical analysis. Okay. So we have touched again seven ethical models. So those ethical models you can apply into pros your situations or cons your situation. It's a natural tools, and then you can use it by yourself. Okay, you can use it by your own. Okay, but saying that, if you want to for every event, if you want to evaluate the ethical issue, and then you need to run through the process, you need to emergence, or you need to run through this model. So it will be time consuming and resources consuming. It's not a perfect approach. So we have another levels called code of ethics. Okay, so we have another levels called code of ethics. So code of ethics is something black and white written inside the document. Okay, so if you join the professional bodies, so if you join the professional parties, then they have a set of codes of ethics. Okay, that means they have a set of rules that you should follow. If you do not follow about this kind of rules, so somehow you will disqualify, and then you will lose the professional qualifications of these professional bodies. Okay, and then the remaining part of our courses will talk about the law. Okay, we'll talk about the law. Okay, so this will be the baseline of our ethics. So if you break the law, so somehow you need to send to a prison, and then you need to receive the penalty. So definitely you should not break any law. Okay, but because we are not studying law, and then we are not touch all the situations about law, we only focus on the IT professional. Okay, programming or computer science. Okay, so we'll select some of the content and then discuss with you. So we'll discuss the privacy. So starting from these lessons, we'll talk about the privacy. We'll also discuss the IP. Okay, because for the privacy, because you will looking at some personal data, you have lots of the footprint, so you need to care about the situations. You need to care about the information or data that you are handling. Okay, otherwise you will break the law, because the penalty of the privacy is increasing. That means for we guys human, we take care about the privacy. Okay. Another thing is called IP, intellectual properties. Okay. So we have lots of different kinds of copyright, patents, and then IP issues. So we need to talk about this kind of issues, so that when you are code for a library, or you use a library to do it, or you copy an image and paste inside your documents, so it's related to the IP, and then should I pay for the IP owner, etc. So it's a common case in not only in IT, is also in all the case when you are using the computer. So we will also talk about it. We'll also talk about the corruptions. Okay, in Hong Kong we care about the corruption, so we will talk about it. And then we'll also find some lessons to talk about the computer crime. Okay, and most likely is the access to the computer crime with criminal or dishonest intent. Okay, so these two will invite some expert to have an invited talk. Okay, to have an invited talk. So most likely is one from ICAC and another is from Charles Moore. Okay, so this is our situations, and then now we go to here, the law. Okay, and then before the lesson starts, so we will have a short questions about how you understand the legal system. Okay, the legal system, most of you, I guess most of you know that at least we have 2 legal systems. Okay, so one is civil law, and other is called common law. Okay, and other is called common law. So I have a couple of questions I want to ask. Do you know how many legal systems in the world? Okay, do you know how many legal systems in the world? So what is the difference between the civil law and then common law? And then what is the legal system in Hong Kong? What is the legal system in China, EU, United States, and also United Kingdom? Okay, so we have a good document to have a look with your basic understanding about legal system, and then we'll go to the discussion. So now let us go to the Google document. Okay, we have a Google form. I will post it in our Teams. So this is the map describe the legal system of the world. Okay, so we'll have a look with another video later, but I just want to do an overview about the legal system, and then you can make sure that you highlight some point inside the map and know what's the situations. So just refer to our previous study about your understanding about the legal system. Okay, so the first one is how many legal system in the world. Okay, so there are lots. Okay, there are lots. So if you're looking at this table, there are lots of different kind of legal system. Okay, but most likely you can divide them into three parts. The first one is the civil law. Okay, civil law. Second one is the common law. And then another one will be the religious law. Okay, will be the religious law. We talk about the civil law first. So civil law begin in Rome. Okay, begin in Rome. Okay, here begin in Rome, and then spread to the whole Europe. Okay, so today we have lots of interesting topic that is way to Rome, way to Alexandria. Okay, so for example, the engineering. Okay, so in Europe there are lots of interesting engineering about waterfalls, about the underground system, about the water supplying. So lots of interesting engineering topic and mathematics begins with worms. Okay, it's begin with worm. They create lots of the things pretty good. So if you are studying engineering, yeah, you are studying engineering. Computer science is one of the engineering. So you must respect to Rome. So there are lots of modern system, modern model that is coming from Rome. So another things that is come from Rome is about the legal system. Okay, so the Rome, they define lots of the law. Okay, they define the lots of law, and then they set up a pretty good legal system. Okay, they set up a pretty good legal system for their citizens. For each law, they have a very clear definition. So if you're reading the civil law, the statement of the civil law is really long. Okay, so that is referred to our next question. So what is the difference between civil law and common law? In civil law, most likely we care about the law statement. Okay, so every law statement they're written in a very well structured. Okay, so next lessons we will talk about the law in EU, and then we will talk about the law in China. So definitely you will recognize that the law statement in EU or in China, they are compared with common law, they're really long. Okay. So in the terms of judge or also for the lawyer, so the lawyer and judge in civil law, their responsibility is a little bit lower because all the things is clearly written down in their law statement. So the lawyers or the judge, they just need to follow the statement of the law. They need not to have lots of the explanation. They need not have lots of the argue with each other. So the system, you will think that is a little bit strange because from some civil law countries, they allow the defendants that are not presented in the court, and then they can still decide for the punishment. So it's quite strange for us who are using the common law, okay? But it's a common case for all the countries that are using the civil law, okay? If your evidence is strong enough, so definitely I can make my judgment, and then I can send you to the jail or send you to the prisons, okay? So this kind of civil law, because all the things you need not to argue with each other, all the things is written very well in their law, okay, in their law statement. Another thing is about the common law, okay? So common law most likely begin in United Kingdom, okay, begin in United Kingdom, and because the United Kingdom has lots of the colony, okay, so they spread the case law, okay, that means the common law into other parts of the world. So you see that for the United States, for the Canada, okay, and also Australia, and of course in here we are Hong Kong. Here we are using common law. We are using the common law. Okay, so the common law is something like that. The law statement is very brief. Okay, so most likely the law statement, they only have 1 or 2 lines, or most likely at the most they have the 3 lines to to express the situations. Okay, so there are lots of space for you to argue with each other. That's why the lawyer in the common law, they charge for hire because they need to find the explanation, and then they need to find the evidence to support their law statement or support their argument. So for the judge to make their decision, so it based on two things. The first one, of course, is the law statement, right? So you quote the law statement and then you argue with each other. And other one will be the case study, the case, okay, the case law, okay, the case, okay. So every case that you have finished inside the common law system, that means I have a successful case in the United States or I have a successful case in Canada, it can be used in Hong Kong. Can be used in Hong Kong. That's why. So there are lots of argument between Samsung and Apple. They are fighting with each other. Okay, they are continuous fighting with each other because if they can create a successful case, so they can stop lots of the similar situation in the whole world, in the United States, Australia, or Hong Kong, or Canada. Okay, so they use lots of the money to argue with each other. And this part will talk more inside the IP, intellectual properties, to discuss what's happening, and then in the civil law and then in the commons law. Okay. And then for the religions law, so they have the Muslim here. Okay, here, Muslim and Jewish. Okay, so we have two different kinds of religions law. So it most likely happens here, the green area. So most likely is the Middle Asia. Okay, Middle Asia. In our course, we will not discuss a lot about the religions law because we have different religions, and then it's hard for us to understand the whole situations of the religions. Okay, and of course about the times, we only have the limited time. So mostly we'll care about the civil law and then the common law. Okay, civil law and common law. So looking at this map, so we are here, and then the green part will be the civil law. But if you look at China or Japan, they are not using the civil law. They are using some customary law. Okay, so here, so if you're looking at this one, customary law is here. Okay, it's here. So most likely is coming from the civil law. Okay, it's another branch of civil law. It's a little bit similar to civil law. The law statement of the civil law is very long, right? So the law statement inside the customary law is also very long and very detailed. Okay, so it's another branch of the civil law, and then because somehow they are some Western. Civil law is some Western, and then we are some Eastern. Okay, Eastern part of the Asia, Eastern part of the world. So we cannot 100% adapt the concept and then 100% adapt the idea about the Rome, about the Western style. So we change a little bit. Okay, we change a little bit and then put it into our legal system. Okay, so so for your basic understanding, or in short, to classify the civil law or classify the common law, okay? So if your country have a long history, okay, have a long history, and then there are lots of behavior which is agree with the other peoples in your whole country, okay? So Rome, they have a long history, Italy, and then German, they have a long history, right? And China, Japanese, they have another long history. Okay, so there are lots of common behavior within our citizens, within our country, right? So we can adopt the civil law. Okay, we can adopt the civil law. We can adopt the civil law because the behavior of the whole country will not be changed. Will not be changed so often. Okay, frequently. So most likely we can adopt the civil law. But somehow, if your country contains or consists of lots of different culture, for example, United States, okay, for example, Canada, for example, Australia, and also Hong Kong, right? There are lots of different culture, there are lots of peoples living together, okay, living together, and there are lots of conflicts with each other, and then we cannot use the same behavior, we cannot use the same legal system to control all the peoples, okay, to control all the people, or ask all the peoples to or regulate all the people, Okay, so somehow we need to keep on argue with each other, and then our law should be up to date, right? Should be up to date. So we need to have some new cases to explain the law system, to explain the existing law statement, right? So we will use the common law. Okay, we'll use the common law. Okay, so this is the difference between the two law systems, and we are going to prepare a video for you. So let us have a look with the videos.